We got one person on. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see that chat or not. Do 2 chartreuse ones at the bottom of that. Let's see how it comes out. I think it's gonna come out pretty good. I like this multiple color one. I think it's kind of cool. Trying to get my TV lined out and see if it's, make sure it's all coming in right. I think we got it lined out right. Kind of just another test, see if I still remember how all YouTube Live works. So far, it's looking right, I think. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 more of these to tie, and I'm gonna be done with this. I didn't do a lot of these. Trying to get 4 color paints on one head was tough. Not impossible, but tough. There's 4 colors: chartreuse, white, blue, pink. Some of them show up just a little bit better than others, but 4 different color powder paints on that one jig head. And then on the tail, I'm throwing in just about everything. Chartreuse, pink, blue, orange. Yeah. And red 210 denier thread. Let's see, let's start with pink and blue on this one. Put it right there on that side. And on the other side, we'll do orange. And chartreuse. So we've got a lot of different colors going on this one. Then on the top, we will lay a pink. Find a good one. Let's do pink and chartreuse on the top. It's weird. It's hard to tie without music going at the same time. Tie some flash in. kind of like a multicolor type of flash with some old stock. And it had a price tag on it that said $2.50. So that's how old of a stock it was. But it was kind of a good match for this multicolored contraption. Just like that, and cut it off. Get our UV resin ready. I don't know if anybody's commenting or not, but I can't see any of it. I didn't expect a whole lot of people to be on this time of day. I couldn't figure out how to get it back on horizontal. So I was sitting there playing with it and it popped up. So I went with it just to make sure it was going to work, and by golly, it does. That one got a little too hot. I could tell when I painted it. Got just a little bit too warm right there. Kind of concave the end of it in some, but crappie ain't gonna care. Am I right or am I wrong? That's what I thought. That's what I thought. We're going through here, hand selecting some of these feathers. The River Bug Project. Good afternoon, bud. What's going on? Glad to see somebody commented. Thank you. I wasn't sure if my comment thing was working or not, but obviously it is. Thank you. And like I said earlier, we are tying baits with heads that I put 4 different colors in. So there's 4 different color powder paints on that jig head, and 3 or 4 different color feathers I'm putting them in. I'm not putting the feathers in any particular order, just kind of how I grab them. Just like, yeah, we're using 210 red, 210 denier, thread, loon bobbin, peak rotary vise, UV resin, UV light, putting it all in one shot. I might just keep on live and all the way up until I finish all these off. Like I said, I know there ain't very many people watching, but if you're watching, let me know where you're from. Let me know where you fish at. Let me know who's on, because I can't tell who's on. I can just see that there's 5 people on. And we'll just sit here and just keep pumping out some crappie baits. And we'll end up moving this live to evening for sure eventually. Just got to find a good time that works. I always want to do them in the evening. My day starts pretty early. Usually by the time evening gets rolled around, I'm not in the mood to do a whole lot much of nothing. But we're going to pick one day a week, whether it's Sunday evening, Tuesday, Thursday, I think. I'm trying to think who's on and who's not. I don't want to bug somebody else this time or take viewers away from somebody else. So I'm always been kind of careful on what time I do my lives, when I do them. Anybody make it down to Grizzly Jig Show this past weekend? You name it, there's every color in that one. I just did a YouTube short with it too. Not the time part of it, but the finished result. A lot of times I'll take a bait that I'm not sure about and I'll put it on a YouTube short. Kind of see what kind of response it gets. Before I commit to tying like 200 of them or something. But myself, whether it gets a good response or not, myself, I definitely use this one. Might be one I like all those colors in that. And I was thinking about it the other day, doing them like that, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to or not. And then I painted them. I didn't paint that many because it was kind of a pain in the butt that I could get 3 colors on before it cooled down, and then I had to heat it up with the heat gun to get it warm enough to get the fourth color to go on, and then try to heat it back up without melting it, burning it, blistering it. So if you've ever put that many colors in one jig head, you're definitely going to want the heat gun somewhere there. You could do it with propane torch, just you got to know where that extreme part of that temp ends, where it stops. So I usually measure with my hand, put my hand up somewhere, feel where it's going to be like the hottest. And that's usually where I try to get it, where it's kind of melty again, where I can put another color in it. All these will be at the show in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm not really sure, not 100% sure about this one, because these might not make it out of my box. And maybe, I'm sure they'll end up down here. I'm pretty sure I've got every color hand-tied crappie bait in my boat that you could think of. And plastic one for that matter. What did I miss in that one? Still a little bit of blue in there. Put a little bit of blue inside that. There's some blue that stood out on the very nose of that. I want a little more blue in there. Now we got it. Almost looks like the colors of like a macaw parrot. If I was still naming them, that might be what I named this, the macaw. And it is absolutely beautiful day out. I got the garage door wide open. It's like 70-some degrees. And instead of being out fishing, I got myself in here tying crappie jigs. And talking to myself. See, I'm not seeing those. Why am I not seeing those comments up here? I first heat them with the propane torch, and then I dip them in their main color, which on this one was like a pepper. It was kind of a white pepper color. And then I sprinkle on a little bit of a different color, and then try to sprinkle on a different color. By that time, the jig head's gotten where it's kind of cooled down. So after I heat it back up a little bit with the heat gun, then I sprinkle the fourth color on. That's how I did those. And you can layer them up, you can build them up. You can, depending on how many times you want to heat it, you can put a lot of colors in them. Of course, the bigger the jig head, easier it is to do. These are 16th ounce wedge heads. So you don't have a lot of room and you don't have a lot of time before it cools back down. Now, if you were doing something like 1/4 ounce, you could probably get all 4 of them on without having to heat it again. But you definitely want to start with your light color first and then go up. Lighters, then darkers. So I've got the white on first, probably the chartreuse on second, the pink on third, and then the blue on fourth. 4 in this one. 4 in this batch. And I don't know how good the camera's picking it up. Like I said, you got a white base, chartreuse, blue. It's hard. It's definitely, the smaller they get, the harder they are. I did some the other day that were 1/100th. Let me dig one out here. And got 2 colors in. That's chartreuse and pink on a 1/100th of an ounce. But yeah, definitely the smaller they get, the harder it gets. And the smaller they get, the more you want to go towards use your heat gun. Your heat gun's definitely a lot easier when it comes to painting them. 30 seconds and under, 30 seconds, 64s, that's definitely where your heat gun comes in as a better option than a propane torch. You can do it on a propane torch, but I mean, it's just gonna, I don't even think it's a full second it takes to heat it up enough to get it ready to paint. There's a fine line between it's ready and it's dripped all down the table, for sure. A very fine line. Trust me, I got all kinds of spots. I've dripped it back inside the, I've dripped them back inside the torch. I've dripped them back inside the heat gun. I mean, it happens. If you do it enough, you're definitely going to be melting through some, for sure. And then sometimes you get weird lead that heats different. Some of it heats super quick, super easy, and then some of it just takes a little bit longer. Kind of just depends on the lead, and it's not that there's a, I'm sure there's probably poor quality leads, but it don't make a difference most of the time, whether it's used lead, new lead. It all paints a little bit different. All your paints are a little bit different on top of that too. Red paint's different than chartreuse, blue's different than black, white's different than green. They all are different. And you can help some add. Some of those powder paints get really, really thick and they're hard to paint with. You can get clear, a lot of people don't know this, but you can get clear powder paint and you can mix it into really thicker paints and thin it out some. Tommy Ward, give it a try. I kind of like it. The more I tie this, the more I wish I would have made more of these jig heads. And I might go back and do some more with some modified, some pill heads, some round ball heads, but I think it's kind of cool. Esque Outdoors, good afternoon. I don't know how to get the comments. Yes, I do guide. I don't know how to get the comments to stay on here, so I'm watching the TV. So if you comment and I miss it, it's not. I'm not ignoring you. It's not staying up there. I've had this problem before with YouTube when I'm doing lives. I usually got to watch it on a different device to be able to catch all the comments. But yeah, I do guide. I'm still guiding. Pomme de terre. Pomme de terre is my main one. Truman, Stockton. I'm actually thinking about doing some walleye trips this spring. I enjoy guiding. It's a lot of fun. For me, it's a lot of fun. I do guide without live scope. Without. Just make sure people know that before they book a trip with me. I do not use live scope. I either fish vertical and stand in trees, troll crappie jigs, crankbaits, slip bobbers and minnows. That is what I do. I do not use live scope. Not a hater of it, just don't have it. I don't want it to change the way I fish. My trips book just like they used to back in the day. I guarantee you the experience, not a limit of fish. But we always catch fish. White bass, crappie, catfish. Yeah, I think it would too. I really think it would. We usually do better on the really darker colored jigs on Stockton for walleye. Browns, greens, but then there's, the white ones for sure. What your favorite jig color? My favorite jig color for crappie is red and chartreuse. That's always been one of my favorite ones. Second, I would say like blue, white, blue, silver, silver on silver. I done some of those this morning. This is another one of my favorites right here. I just dropped one on the floor. Tied those this morning. I like these a lot. I like silver with a lot of flash in it. Those are all those were tied. It's all bucktail. I agree with you 100%. It takes something away from it. Like I said, I'm not going to, if you use it, I don't bash it. I've had the opportunity to get it. I've turned it down. I don't want it. I don't want to change the way I fish. I like the way I fish. I like the hunt. I like the anticipation of not knowing what you're going to catch. On guide trips, I've had people get in my boat and they thought my front sonar was live scope, and I've had them tell me, they don't want it on. They didn't want to look at it. I'd rather take somebody out, enjoy, relax, whether it's casting jigs to schooled up crappie in the mouth of a cove or dead sticking trees, slip bobbers and minnows, going down the bank, hunting down those crappie that are up shallow. That's the stuff I like. That's what I like. I like My favorite is when you're having a tough morning, then all of a sudden conditions change and you just hammer them. Those are my favorite days. I love those. I like those days where I don't have any made up at the moment. I'm sure I will here eventually. I'll be tying up some. But I like fishing those mornings that's got me nervous that we're not going to do very good. And then usually sometime through the day there will be a condition change and it all just totally change over. I had somebody out last year with me a couple times. They should have been spawning. We started out that morning up on the bank. They weren't there. We went out deep from 7 o'clock till 7 to 1. I think we had like 7 to noon. We had maybe 9 fish in the boat. And from noon to 2, we ended up with over 60 fish. Probably boated over 100. Between the crappie, the bluegill, the bass, the catfish, I mean, all in one trip. What size do you use for walleye? 1/8 ounce. 1/8 ounce most of the time, unless it gets really windy. But I like 1/8 ounce. You can get it down pretty deep, fairly quick. Usually I don't go under 1/8 very often walleye fishing. Quite a few times on Stockton, it's a jig head and a piece of night crawler, or I'm trolling crankbaits, one of the two. If I can find good schools of them without spooking them, a lot of times it'll be we'll cast to them, but depending on the time of the year, it's probably going to be trolling crankbaits. And a lot of people that go with me, they like that part of it, because we can pull the windshield shut on the boat, sit in the back of the boat, and just troll for them. Covered a lot of ground that way. Sometimes, yes. Here lately, yes, I've been tying 7 days a week. I got a show I'm going to in end of February. I'm trying to get stocked up for that. But yeah, I usually tie 7 days a week up until the fishing starts getting really good, and then I'm going to go from tying to guiding. Hopefully it gets busy. How many per day? I started this morning at 9:30, and I think when I get this batch done, I got 3 more to go. That'll be 75. If I space it out like an 8-hour day, anywhere between 100 to maybe 150, 175. Number 4s. Number 4 is most of the time I use for walleye. But there's a lot I do through the day too. I stopped doing this and I got other things I take care of, and I have a hard time. Didn't used to be. Sometimes minnow heads, sometimes round ball heads. It depends on what I've got with me and what color I'm thinking. You know, if I'm thinking white and green, and the first one I grab is just a plain round ball head, I'll use a plain round ball head. If I'm like planning the trip that morning before the sun's up and I'm on the ramp, and you know I actually got time to dig through there and set up, I might go with something that's got eyes in it, and might not. But the only thing about tying 7 days a week is sitting in this chair. Some people do it, and I don't know how they do it all day, every single day for, 10, 12 hours straight. And there's a lot of people that do it. I can't do it. I can't. I'm just about ready. I tied for a little while this morning. I stopped, took a break, did a couple other things, and then came back to it. But to sit here straight for 8 or 10 hours, I can't do it. If you tie, you got to give yourself a break, because you can absolutely burn yourself out on this. Easy, so easy to burn yourself out on this. Especially if you decide you're going to sell them. If you decide you're going to sell them, that opens up a whole new can of worms when it comes down to it, because now you're talking about deadlines, shipping, post office. And I see the price of shipping was getting ready to go up again. But I try to do a little bit on all the social media platforms. I got a little bit of an auction going on Facebook right now. If anybody's interested in hitting it up. It's like 18 or 20 baits I've got on Facebook right now. I think only one person's bid so far. Sometimes I get a bunch tied up, like if I'm doing YouTube videos. And I do a video with one particular bait, and, I might do 2 of them before I do the video, just to make sure they're right. And I usually hang them up back there, and then every once in a while I'll pick them off and put them on auction on Facebook or something like that. But yeah, if you do this full time, remind yourself to get out of that chair every once in a while. Take a break, walk away from it for a couple days. Save yourself, because you'll get burnt out on it. It's a good hobby, though. It can be. It can be a good hobby if you keep it a hobby. But the cool thing about it is, you can make whatever you want. Whatever color you want, whatever size you want, whatever hook you want. You never have to try to explain to somebody else when you're buying them from someone what you actually want. You just decide what color. Then if it works good, to tie more of them. If it don't work good, to either modify it or scrap it and start again. One more. If you go to, like, say, the last video I did, if you go to my channel, go to the last video I did, somewhere on the side there's going to be, somewhere in there, there's a little button that says shop. In that shop link is the UV resin, the lights, the vise, powder paints. It's all in that link. YouTube just got to where they let me do that. I get a little bit of a commission off of it, but it's easier than trying to pull up links from some other places and posting them. So I can add it all in that shoppable thing. And I probably could have on this live, but like I said, I was making sure that I was going to be able to get it set up for horizontal feed when I start going live again a lot. Or on my main page, there might be a thing that says store. It could be in that. UPS guys here. See, it's definitely something good to do in the wintertime. And we had ice on just about everything here up until probably this past weekend. Almost everything had ice on it. Stay. You too. Thank you. Oh, had to catch UPS man there. Get up here and sit down. I got a little dog with big attitude. Get up here. Come on. Let me when I get done with this video, it might take till this afternoon. I will comment on this video and I will put that link up there that's got everything on it. Make sure you're subscribed. That might have something to do with it too. I'm not sure. But I will put that link up there and make sure you got a link to that resin. The resin, I'm pretty sure the flashlight's there, and I think the big lights that I use in my box are on that link too. But as soon as this gets done loading all the way up, I will tag this, put that in a comment. I'll post it up in a comment so it's a little bit easier to find. But I was spending, 4 or 5 hours a week digging up links and sending them to people, and then YouTube finally opened that up, and I'm pretty sure YouTube opened it up to be competitive with all the other social media platforms. But it made it a lot easier for me, I know that. Because I can put it all out there in one thing. But if you're making your own, definitely try these multicolored baits. It's kind of cool. I'm kind of impressed with it. I wasn't expecting it to come out quite that good, but they came out pretty nice. Or in my opinion, they came out pretty nice. It's like a good spawning bait. When they're up on the bank, it don't really matter when they're spawning up on the bank. They'll hit just about anything you throw at them. But we ain't far from that. February, March, end of March, mid-March. Right now, probably best time to catch your biggest crappies right now in this part of the country. February going through March is where you catch big ones. Day you start to get a little bit longer. And that is it. That is the last one of that color. Definitely unique. Every color in the rainbow. Except for orange. Orange is the only color that's not in there. That's quite a few of them. Yeah, that right there is 75 for, I don't know how long I've been at it. 9 o'clock this morning, but I stopped for a while. It's 2:30. And I am done for today. Thanks y'all for watching. I appreciate it. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that. And I will get that link put in the comments of this video so that way you'll be able to find that resin, the lights, the bobbins, the vise, even the chair I sit in. There was a link for that too, so it's all in there. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all watching.